Welcome to Why Work Sucks and what you can do about it. Good bosses versus bad bosses. Well, a good boss will be clear, consistent, and back you up. Bad bosses, not. So that's my definition of what makes a good boss: clear, consistent, backup. And it means more than just those three words in one sentence. It means clear equals clarity. And what I mean by clarity is what do you want me to do? When do you want it to have it done? And how do you want me to go about doing it? And is there a procedure? Do we have a clear understanding between us? Do we know what you're asking? And that clarity is going to make sure that you get the job done that they're looking for. Consistency. That's the idea of being able to count on what is going to be asked next or what's going to be asked in the future. By being consistent, you can actually improve the communications, you can actually build trust, and you can build some kind of understanding between the two of you that repeats. So that consistency means that rewards, discipline, any kind of feedback is going to be something that is understandable and you're going to be able to accept it. It means that when you do something correctly, you're going to know what that means. And when you don't do it correctly, you know what that means. This builds an environment where the staff can work with that boss. And backup. What does backup mean? Well, it means that even in the meeting you're not in, the boss is going to back you up because there is a clear and consistent communication of what needs to be done. That means the boss has the opportunity to own what you did for work. It means they can understand what was expected of you and did you come through. So you know what is expected, you know what the results are supposed to look like. Two of you agree, no confusion later. Even when you're not in the room, the boss knows what you did, and the boss can own it and can make it a better process. So is this unusual in the workplace? Oh, it's not. In fact, there are a lot of programs out there that are required. So let's say you're working with government orders. You're going to ship products to the federal government, the Department of Defense, a state and local government. They're going to expect certain levels of performance. That could be quality standards like a military standard or MIL standard. Could also mean that you're going to be AS 9100, ISO 9001, or maybe it's going to be ITAR. All of these acronyms feed back to huge amounts of documentation that are expected to be performed in order to provide a product that is as expected and not something that is a surprise. When it comes to people, that can correlate or directly connect back. So let's say that you're being asked to do a report. If it has to meet certain criteria in an ITAR or ISO environment, there's going to be documentation in writing what that looks like, what that procedure is, what resources you have available, who you're supposed to involve in that process. The only thing that's left is for you to have the specific assignment, the understanding of what is involved in putting together the answers for that challenge, who is going to be involved doing it, and most importantly, when it's supposed to be due. So, how do you get a boss that doesn't do this? That's the frustrating part. It's when there's a lack of consistency. They come up with new things, new ways, and it's kind of unpredictable. But by and large, they don't like what you did at the end. And I've had a couple of those bosses. I had one who absolutely insisted that I use this specific spreadsheet and actually gave me a copy of the spreadsheet that he wanted all of this customer communication to be captured in. Now, this isn't like I was working with a customer relationship management or Salesforce.com kind of program. This was a spreadsheet that he wanted done separately. Yeah, I had Salesforce running in the background, had to do that. But he wanted this spreadsheet for how I communicated with his customer. Why did he want this? Well, he wanted it because that customer had a problem and he wanted to address them in a much higher level of performance and interaction. Okay, understandable. It was a problem, needed it fixed. And he needed it done on a very frequent basis, 2 or 3 times a day. And so this required an awful lot of phone calls, a lot of communication with the team, and a lot of people involved. So, who was that small assignment given to? When was it expected back? What was it supposed to look like? All of that was captured in the spreadsheet. So far, so good, right? Well, when it came down to it, he didn't like the presentation that I had that was all on his spreadsheet. He thought I should modify the spreadsheet even after he told me I want it done this way. That didn't make sense to me, but boy, was he hot. He wanted it done in a new way that he never discussed. This happens all the time. That lack of consistency, and in this case, clarity, made for a very difficult situation that didn't have to be. If he had said, modify the spreadsheet to make it work, there's room for error in that, but at least he wouldn't be saying, do it this way and only this way. And I got stuck in the middle. Now, that particular manager did this a lot and eventually was no longer with the company. But in the meantime, he used this technique to move up the ladder quickly because subordinates were often seen as being inadequate to what he was trying to do. Therefore, it was their fault. This was all under the umbrella of I need a fall guy. And that makes him a bad boss. The fall guy boss. That's the one that I was dealing with here. And we'll talk about that more in another video. In this one, we're talking about the good boss. How do you get clarity, consistency, and backup from a good boss? Ask for it. When they assign a goal, specifically say, what do you want done? And who do you want to do it in addition to me? And when do you want it done? Those 3 things will usually get it clear for you. What is it? Who is it? When is it? Who, what, when? I think that's probably the fastest ways to get clarity and consistency along with a good, solid backup opportunity. The boss knows what they asked for. If you deliver it, they can back you up and say, that's what was asked for. Now, in a perfect world, that's great. But we don't live in a perfect world, do we? What can really gum this up? The next boss up. Yep, the next boss up can make up a whole mess out of this. So here's what you need to do. Report back immediately to your boss who, what, when, and therefore this is what I'm going to do. Just the minutes of the meeting in very short order. Now, a couple ways you can do that, and we'll talk about some of those in other videos too, like the 515 report. But it could be just a sticky note. It could be an email. It could be something written on a whiteboard. This is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to do it. And here's the other people that I might employ. So you add clarity by repeating what you have been asked to do. Just repeat it back. And you need to follow the same process. Clear, consistent, and backup. The backup is you wrote it down. The clear part is you said exactly what you were going to do based on what they asked you to do. And the consistency is every time they ask for you to do something, you do this. You write it down. Who, what, when. Who, what, when. Spreadsheet, email, report, 515 report. Any of these processes, who, what, when, will cause a lot less confusion, a lot more consistency, and from that comes trust. From that comes safety for the manager to know what's going to come and when. And from that, you can actually build a good boss. So, if you've got a good boss, congratulations. Learn from them. Pick up these ideas. Feel that mentorship building up your capabilities. Got a bad boss? Maybe you can help by driving clear, consistent backup as part of the way you interact with that boss and bring them to a new level of performance working with you. So that's the secret to having a good boss and a bad boss work for you. Good boss, learn from them. Bad boss, bring them on board. Clear, consistent backup. And you'll be doing a great job for you and them. And that's how you deal with why work sucks. It doesn't have to.